Hello, 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 hello. How y'all doing out there? Big Blue in the house. Yeah, today is Sunday. I always like to check my dates. Sunday, December 16th, 2012. Um, it's a very exciting day. We got a lot going on. For those of you keeping track, I'm going to be up to 21,540 push-ups, 22,650 sit-ups. I'm not doing any running today. Today is more of a day of rest for me. I do it every other day. Yesterday I didn't, I don't like running on Saturdays. I do it once in a while, but from Friday at sunset to Saturday at sunset is the Sabbath. So I don't like running while the Sabbath is still on. And this time of year, it gets dark about 5:30 here in Miami. It's starting to increase, but approximately 5:30 it gets dark. So I don't like running in the dark. So Saturday is a day that generally I'm not going to run on, but once in a while I do because I may have a PT test coming up. So you don't want to skip too many runs when you have a test coming up. You want to build up yourself. And right now I'm just running for fitness. um, I'm trying to schedule a running event, and there's a bunch of them. So I'm just trying to go ahead and do one, and most likely it'll be a 5K, and then I'll do a 10K, a half marathon, and a marathon. I've done a 5K before. I did one back in '09, February '09. We did one in Coral Gables, and that was my first one. And I did it as a unit run with my battle buddies, so it was awesome. And we have a picture of it back at the unit. So it was really good. Um, I'm planning to do something as soon as possible, and I'm going to let you guys know. I do want to be able to videotape it as much as possible, so that's one of the things that I have to work out, the logistics of that. But today, this early this morning I was up working on my financial statements, my personal financial statements. I do it at least once a month, and the reason that I had to do it, sometimes I do it just for me, sometimes it's for a creditor, and in this case I had to do it because of the Department of Veteran Affairs. They're trying to get me to pay for educational benefits that I receive. They want me to repay some of that money because apparently, they had me in they misclassified me and put me in the wrong program, and I got too much money back. So I'm trying to get a waiver. So I have to kind of add everything up, get some documentation together to support my waiver application, and I have it ready to mailed out, ready to go. But it takes me a little while to do that, and I'm able to take some notes, get some things together, and I use it to see where I'm at, where I'm going, and how you doing. Now, basically, everyone should do this. You're required to do it at least once a year by the federal government. That's when you do your income tax. So you are required by the federal government. If you are a student, you have to do it twice a year. You got to do it once when you do your income tax, once when you do your financial aid package. So if you're elderly, you may have to do it, once when you do your income tax, once when you file for for benefits, Medicare, Medicaid, whatever. If you're, single parent, low income, um, when you apply for government benefits, you have to do it, and then you have so everybody basically has to do it at least once. Some of us that are students, if you're applying for government benefits of any kind, you have to do it twice. Now, if you're applying for government benefits, you're a student, and you're going to school, you have to do it 3 times a year. Now, each time you apply for credit, you have to let them know what your income is. So, you know, theoretically, you have to do this each time you apply for credit. Now, the best way to do this, see, I'm an accountant, so I could do it for myself. But the best way to do it is to hire a bookkeeper or an accountant to help you, so that every month you know how much money you made, how much money you spent, what your balance sheet looks like. Do you have more debt than assets? What are the trends? What are the ratios? You have to do this. Now, as a young person, I didn't have time for all that. I didn't have time for that. You just want to go to work. You don't want to worry about this. You make whatever you make. You pay whatever you have to pay, and you just let it roll. You don't take time to do this. And basically, living like that, you know, I ended up, I want to show this to you. I'm gonna kind of hide some of the information, but I want to show it to you. I ended up with a credit score like this. You know, that was my credit score. Basically, it says 456, 456, and this was back in August 25th, 2003. Um, you know, a credit score is a computer-generated mathematical calculation of the information which appears in a credit report. It represents your credit worthiness as a number or a numerical value. The credit score is based on data about your credit history and payment behavior. Credit scores are used to assist a lender or insurance company in determining the level of risk associated with granting you a loan or evaluating an insurance policy. Credit scores can change over time, depending on how your credit history and payment behavior changes and how well you manage your credit obligation. Since the credit score is based on information in your credit history, it is important that you review the credit report and that is being furnished with this document to make sure it is complete and accurate. The credit score displayed here was created by TransUnion, but this is 9 years ago. This is 9 years ago. A higher credit score means a lower likelihood of delinquency in the next 2 years on a new account. The credit score is presented with up to 4 key factors. These factors will print in the order of importance as to reasons your credit score is not higher. Use these as a guide for how to improve your, in this case, this was TransUnion credit score. And it says, please note this credit score may be different than a credit score used by a lending institution or insurance company. The credit industry and insurance industry use many different types of credit scores. So it goes on and on and on and on. And in this case, like I said, I was at 456. The lowest you could be is 150, and at this time, this was 9 years ago, the highest you could be was 934. And it says, the 4 factors: months since most recent serious delinquency is too short. Your credit report reflects a delinquent payment history. Making prompt payments over time may improve your credit score. 2, collection accounts ever owed are too high. Consumers with collection activity are more likely of future delinquency. Making prompt payments over a longer period of time may improve your score. Number of delinquent accounts is too high in proportion to total number of accounts. Your credit report reflects too many accounts with delinquent payment history compared to the total number of accounts on your report. And factor 4, too many recently opened accounts. Your credit report reflects a number of recently opened accounts, which has a negative impact on your credit score. Limiting the number of new accounts may improve your credit score. Now, this was the low. Here you are, working hard, working 60, 70 hours a week, trying to do your best, trying to help your family, and you graduate from college, you're trying to do your best, and you get a score like this. This is very depressing. And here, we got a little bit more. How are credit scores used by lenders? A credit score is one of the primary tools a lender uses when determining whether or not to grant you credit, and if so, how much credit and at what interest rate. Lenders also typically consider other information in addition to your credit report, such as income, employment, or their previous experience with you. Taken together, this factual information provides credit grantors with a fair representation of the risks in lending money to you. And how are credit scores used by insurance companies? Insurance companies use credit scores to determine the likelihood that you will make a claim against your policy. Since they are evaluating credit worthiness or ability to pay, they may consider elements of credit history different from those considered by lenders and may reach different determinations. A credit report viewed favorably by a lender may not necessarily be viewed as favorably by an insurer. Insurers also typically consider other information in addition to your credit history report when evaluating your policy. For more specific information, contact the insurance company. So we got that. How is my credit score calculated? In this case, this was TransUnion. And like I said, this is 9 years ago. I'm just going over this for a reason. I'm laying a foundation to establish my credibility as a small business expert, as someone that you can listen to. Because 9 years ago, I found myself in this situation, with a 456 and struggling, But I was working, I was doing my best, I had a little business going, but it wasn't generating the profits. I went through some issues, trying to run for office, all kinds of things, where you waste money, you make enemies, and you find yourself isolated from the mainstream, and this is the situation, and I know a lot of you right out there are in this situation. This is where I was, and this was, like, I would say, probably the second time in my life, really about the third, but the second time in my life where you had tangible proof that, hey, you got issues right now that you need to deal with. Say the first, in college, sometimes you don't manage your time. You want to work, go to school, party, and you get bad grades. To the point where you're almost flunking out of school. I've been there. I've been there. Even though I have a master's degree in accounting and everything else, I've reached a point where said, hey man, I got to change. I can't be partying. I can't be hanging out. I can't be trying to work too many hours and go to school. So you had to drop, start working less, start spending more time studying, stop partying, and just buckle down just to make it through school. So that was reality check number one, and try to go away to school. Your money run low. Friends help you out, but you gotta work. So that was just tough. And then come back home and keep going to school, and eventually I did what I had to do. Now reality check number two is basically this. You try to do more. You go out of your league, and you face the consequences. And this is it. But I do want to keep reading this. TransUnion credit score model is based on many interrelated characteristics of credit information. Numerical weights are placed on different aspects of your credit report, and a mathematical formula is used to arrive at a final credit score. There are many different score models used in the credit industry, which consider different variables for different types of credit. The credit score characteristics may be generally summarized in 6 categories. Maintaining credit considers how you are paying your accounts. Total balances considers how much money you currently owe. Credit experience considers how long your credit accounts have been open. Credit mix considers the different types of credits you have. Utilization of credit considers the amount of credit you use in relation to the amount you have available. Credit application considers how often and how frequently you have applied for credit. How often does my credit change? Your credit file is continually updated with new information from your creditors. The TransUnion credit score is calculated based on the current information contained in the credit file at the time the score is requested. Therefore, every time a credit file is requested, the credit score may be different because the information in your credit report continually changes. How do inquiries impact my credit score? A common misconception is that inquiries will always negatively impact a credit score. Typically, the presence of inquiries on the credit file has only a small impact on the credit score. Inquiries have less impact than delinquencies, balance owed, and the length of time you have used credit. Inquiries will usually have a larger impact on the credit score for consumers who have limited credit history. And I'm going to read the final one. It says, how can I improve my credit score? First, it is important to review your credit score for accuracy. In addition, maintaining a good credit standing and continuing to exhibit responsible credit behavior are the most effective means of presenting a positive picture of credit worthiness. Improving one's credit standing or credit score is not a one-time only fix, but more of a change in how you view and handle your credit over time. For more information on credit scoring, visit our site. So this is, that's the scenario, and like I said, that's 9 years ago, and there are times in your life where you just have to buckle up. I could also remember one time, when I first got out of college, I was working multiple jobs. One of them was working security on the graveyard shift. And when the weather changed, I didn't take my flu shot, and I got the flu. I got real sick, so I had to leave that job because I couldn't handle it. And then while you're on the job, graveyard shift, you have to sleep in the daytime. I wasn't sleeping in the daytime. You're falling asleep, you're getting sick, so I had to leave that. And that was like a major event that I kind of remember, because I really wanted to be working, making that money, but my body physically couldn't do it. And this is the foundation that I'm trying to lay with you. You have to balance everything out. You got to take care of yourself. You are your number one asset. I'm at the doctor all the time now. I already took my flu shots. I went to, in this case, I went to Walgreens. $35, did my flu shot. I got my checkup, paid about $58, got me a checkup. And I get one with the reserve. You are your number one asset. You got to get your rest. 8 to 10 hours of sleep. You got to exercise. Everything in moderation. Now, you got to pay your bills. In this case, I wasn't doing what I was supposed to be doing. I wasn't paying things on time. I wasn't, at that time I was doing substitute teaching, leaving that, establishing my own little business. And any business you do, that first few years, you ain't gonna make much money because you're new. Unless you're real lucky, it's gonna be that first year, first 2-3 years, it's gonna be rough. It's gonna be rough. And that's what I was going through, and it impacted me. But I've never had to spend a night in jail. I've never had to file bankruptcy. So I consider that a triumph, you know. I took that as a wake-up call, and you keep working at it, and 9 years later, um, I'm not at 456 anymore. I'm doing much better, closer to about, probably about a good 700. I'm not where I want to be. I want to be perfect, but I'm working at it. I'm working at it every day, day by day. So, you want to know where you at, and you want to work at it, because the bottom line is access to credit determines whether you can have your own business or not. It determines everything. It determines where you can live, what car you can drive, where you can work, if you can buy certain types of insurance, and eventually who you can marry. So you must maintain an excellent credit history. It's not easy. If you got bills, that you can't pay, you have to do bankruptcy, so be it. In my case, I just struggled through, pay what I could pay, and I let some stuff fall off after 7 years, and I still maintain the records, because you want to do right by everyone that's ever extended credit to you. You want to do right by them, but you do what you can do with what you have, and good things happen. Good things happen, and that's the beauty of this. Everyone can get approved, but you gotta know where to go. You gotta know where to go. As long as you know where to go, you can get approved. Um, Today, we are. I mean, I'm even extending credit to people who are in business to me. If you want to be in business with me, I'll extend a little credit to you. But I do want to talk about the Capital One, the Spark business card. This is a really good card to have. Spark Business. Show you my card. Yeah, I got it blacked out, so you can't see that, but that's my Spark business card. And notice what it says right there. It says Business Platinum. Business Platinum, right? Spark. I want you to be able to see all of the different issues. Now, I'm showing you that for a reason. That's a card that you can get. You don't need to have, you know, a perfect credit. You just have fair credit. If you got average credit, and you're a small business person, you get that card. You have a FICO of, let's say, you know, from 620 to 700, seven something, you could get it. I don't know what kind of credit limit you'll get, but I can tell you in my case, with about a 700, just about, you get whatever, you get like maybe 5 grand, so you can get it. And the good thing about that card is it separates your personal expense from your business expense. You got to separate the two, because one of the great things about being a small business person is that you get tax deductions for your business expenses. But if you mix the two, you get nothing. So you got to be able to separate your personal expenses from your business expenses, and by having a business credit card, it's easier for you to do and keep track of. And that's what this card does. It's a business card for small business people. This is from Capital One, Spark. There it is, Capital One. Right? Now, you get 0% interest for 1 year. Let me say it again. 0% interest for 1 year. You know, it's awesome. Um, Now, this is another little documentation that comes with this. You know, basically, getting a higher credit limit for your business is easier than you think. In 3 simple steps: use your card in the first 90 days, stay within the approved credit limit, make your first 3 payments on time, and this card gives you an automatic credit limit increase. You know, um, you got like an extra $500 credit limit increase. It's the card that grows with your business. You want to apply for it, get it, and like I said, you could come into business with me. Multi-level marketing. We're making that money, and this is one of the ways you can do it. You say you got no money, well, I'll get you the credit. I'll get you the credit. If your credit is so jacked up, we will advance you. We'll give you up to $10,000 to come into business with us. Everyone's approved. Everyone's approved. We will help you to come into business with us. Now you got no excuse. What's your excuse? You need some money? I'm showing you the way. I'm showing you the way. Follow me. And you see where I'm coming from. I'm coming from 456 9 years ago, struggling. Now I'm taking it to the next level. You see what I'm saying? And that's why I say, you got to crawl before you can walk. You got to walk before you can run. You got to run before you can sprint. So you see, I was in that laid on my back, all kinds of issues. And then I started crawling. And then I started walking. Now I'm running. Now I'm running. And real soon I'm going to be sprinting. But that's what you need. Oh, the best part about this, you get 1% cash back. You get cash back. And I use my cash back to get Christmas gift for a business client that I'm trying to establish a relationship with. I got a $50 Morrison Steakhouse restaurant gift card, and I gave this to a business person that I'm trying to establish a relationship with, and they were impressed. But it was like free, because I was going to spend the money anyway, right? I was going to spend it anyway, and I used it on this card, and I got a gift for it, and it was at 0% interest. Now, that's only for 1 year, so my year is almost up. I'm going to have to pay everything off, because Big Blue don't pay interest. I don't want to pay any interest, and I'm not trying to start. You wanna be debt free, interest free, but sometimes you cannot ignore a gift horse. But you got to be careful. You got to know what you're doing, or you could end up with a whole big pile of mess and find yourself in bankruptcy. Worse off than before. And I'm not trying. I done been there, done that, and I'm not trying to go there. To where you got creditors calling you, hounding you, trying to drag you into court, all that mess. I don't need that mess. So, I'm going to keep going over some of the benefits of this. Yeah. So the Capital One Classic Business Card features and benefits: automatic credit line increase eligibility. We went over that. 1% cash back on all purchases. We went over that. You could put your company logo on your card. In my case, I just put my picture. That's my logo. I got my picture, but you could just put your logo. Yeah, you get your quarterly and year-end summaries, and I love going online, looking at them, and it helps you. It's less work. It's less work, when I need to see, because I do it every month, but every quarterly, I could just go there. I get my statements, go online, get my statements, get my quarterly summaries, and everything is categorized. So it's easier, to do your taxes, to see how your income and expenses are coming along. Zero fraud liability. If your card is lost or stolen, zero fraud liability. Yeah, you could give your employees cards with individual spending limits. If you have employees, you could give them cards. 24/7 online account access. Experienced small business representatives. Now here are some frequently asked questions. Okay, what is Spark Business? Spark Business is a powerful new suite of business credit cards from Capital One. From experienced customer service representatives to online tools at your fingertips, Spark Business delivers solutions and benefits that can help your business. What information will Capital One need when I apply? You will need to know some basic personal information along with some information about your business, including your business's total annual revenue, your business tax ID number, or employee ID number, employer ID number. What do you mean by tax ID number, TIN, or employee ID number, EIN? Nearly every registered U.S. business must be assigned this 9-digit number by the IRS. It's like a social security number for a business. Can I still apply if I don't have a business tax ID number? Yes. If you are a sole proprietor of your business, please use your social security number. If you are not a sole proprietor and don't have a tax ID number, we can take your application, but we'll need a tax ID number before we can give you a decision. You can get a tax ID number by contacting the IRS. Now, I want to mention this. It's better for you to incorporate. You want to incorporate to protect yourself. It's not that expensive. You could do it online. You could hire a lawyer, however you want to do it. Hire a lawyer or do it online. It's not that expensive. It behooves you to establish your own corporation, protect yourself, and you don't want to give personal guarantees for business debts. You don't want to do it because you could lose your house, you could lose your car, you could lose everything. So you want to separate your business from your personal. You want to do that. I've made that mistake in the past, and it's not pretty. It's not pretty. So you want to separate the two and keep them separate. And this is not legal advice. I'm just telling you my experience. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not in the business of giving legal advice, so don't come after me with all that mess. But I'm just sharing my experience, what I've been through. Take it or leave it. Benefit. But hire your own lawyer and ask them to advise you. I'm not giving any legal advice, okay? I'm an accountant. I don't mix the two, okay? Do I have to call to get a higher credit limit? No need to contact Capital One. Just use your card in the first 90 days. Don't go over your credit limit, and make your first 3 payments on time. Your credit limit line increase will automatically show up by your 5th statement. Now here's something else. When you get a credit card, you don't want to use more than 10% of your credit line. If you're using your credit line beyond that 10%, you're being dumb. You're being stupid. In order to maximize your FICO score, you want to limit your credit line to 10% or less. So if you got, let's say if you got a $5,000, you only want to use 500 of it. You say, why? How come? Well, it's better for you to have a higher FICO score because you could always get another credit line from someone else and only limit yourself to the 10%. You don't want to go crazy with this because all you're doing is digging a hole that you may not be able to climb out of. You don't want to do it. Now if you have the money, you have the income, you have the cash laying around, and you're very secure, you can go a little bit over, but be ready within a 30-day period to pay everything off. If you can't pay everything off in 30 days, don't use more than 10% of your credit limit. That's my own personal observation. This is for me, but I'm just sharing it with you. Take it or leave it. But if you apply this principle, you will maximize your credit score. If not, you're still going to have a low credit score. That's the secret to building a high credit limit, building a perfect credit limit. You don't want to go 10% over. You want to pay everything on time. Use that electronic bill paying from your bank. Pay everything on time and limit your credit line to 10% or less. And if you happen to go over, as soon as you can, pay it off. And then once you pay it off, put that card away. Only use it like once every 6 months. If you don't use it once every 6 months, they're going to close it, So you want to use it once every 6 months and maintain a very good FICO score. Okay, does Capital One report credit information, and can that build business credit? Okay, Capital One provide accurate and timely information about smart business accounts to business credit bureaus, and they also provide this information to consumer credit bureaus. This gives you an opportunity to build your business credit by showing that you pay bills on time and didn't go over your credit limit. Where can you get a business credit report? It's important to verify the accuracy of your company's credit report. You may obtain a copy of these major business reporting agencies, Dun & Bradstreet. You just go to DNB, DNB.com. The Small Business Financial Exchange, SBFE. Their phone number is 1-800-727-8495. 1-800-727-8495. And then Experian, and their phone number is 1-888-397-3742. 1-888-397-3742. And you could also go to www.experian.com. That's www.experian.com. Experian.com. And then for Dun & Bradstreet, it was www.d N like in Nancy, B like in boy, .com. You go there, you can get your business credit report, see how it's doing. So you kind of get the gist, with the Spark business. It's a good thing if you're serious about building your business credit, because everyone can get approved. Everyone, 0%. There's a $39 annual fee. You have to pay that $39 annual fee. They take it off of the initial credit that they grant you. They take it off of it, and you have 0%. After that, your APR will be determined based on your FICO. It's going to be 12.99%, 8.99%, or 22.99% based on your credit worthiness. Transfers are based on the prime rate and your credit worthiness. 12.99%, 18.99%, 22.99%. Cash advances, the APR is 24.99% for cash advances. The penalty, if you make a late payment, 29.4%. That's the penalty APR. You don't want to be there. Paying interest. Your due date is at least 25 days after the close of each billing cycle, and you have a grace period. They won't charge you interest on new purchases provided you pay that balance in full by the due date. But they will begin charging interest on cash advances and transfers on the transaction date. Minimum interest charge. If you are charged interest, the minimum interest charge will be at least 50 cents. For credit card tips, you could go to the federalreserve.gov. That's www.federal, F-E-D-E-R-A-L, reserve, R-E-S-E-R-V-E, .gov, federalreserve.gov. You can go there. get some credit card tips. Um, oh yeah, if you make a late payment, you got to pay that $39 fee. If you go over the credit limit, you got another $39 fee. If you have a return payment, $39 fee. So you could kind of read all of the details here. Um, how do you calculate the balance? They use a method called an average daily balance, including new purchases. What will be the APR if you transfer? Um, any transfers the transfer APR, which is based on your credit worthiness, on or before your first year. Um, they look at your FICO score. It might be 12.99%, it might be 18.99%, or 22.99%. It's based on your credit, worthiness, the transfer APR. What about, can you change the APR? Of course, if you have a late payment, 3 or more days after your payment date, you go to the penalty APR, which is 29.4%. So that's why you don't want a late payment. And then a late payment stays on your record for 7 years. That bad boy stay on your record for 7 years. Let me show you that. 7 years. So you don't want those late payments. And the only way to avoid them is to use that electronic bill paying. And when you work, when you have some money, put it in your checking account. Let it sit there. And then when it's time for you to pay your bills, even before you know it's due, you schedule that payment. If it's due on the 5th, you schedule it for the 5th. If the 5th falls on a weekend, you schedule it for that Friday. If it's during the business week, it's cool. But if it's on a Saturday or a Sunday, you schedule it for that Friday, the last business day before is due. You don't want to schedule it afterwards, because then you run into late payment. And so you don't want that. And the only way to avoid it, and that's why you want to, each time you get paid, put your money in your bank account, your checking account, and schedule your bill payments before you do anything, because you don't want late payments, man. You don't want it. And that was one of the issues that I had years ago. You want to put gas in your car, you want to buy groceries, you want to maybe help out your parents or something, and you're doing all of this before you pay your bills, and then when it's time to pay your bills, you're paying them late. So what has helped me is that when I get my little income, that goes straight to my checking account, and I pay my bills first. Before I do anything, I pay my bills. And once you get in that habit, you'll be okay. And then you might even have something left over that you can invest. And you want to do that. Yeah, okay. What about other terms? Yeah, they can change terms anytime they want. They will notify you in writing or in advance, if they change anything. The variable APR may change when the prime rate changes. That's determined by the Federal Reserve. We calculate variable rates by adding a percentage to the prime rate published in the Wall Street Journal on the 25th day of each month. If the journal is not published on that day, then see the preceding edition. Variable rates on the following segments will be updated monthly and will take effect on your next billing period. Non-introductory purchase APR, prime plus 9.74, 15.74, or 19.74. Transfer APR, prime plus 9.74, 15.74, or 19.74. Cash advance APR, prime plus 21.74. Penalty APR, prime plus 29.15. So right now we call in prime 3%. That's what we call the prime rate. And for the best credit, How do you determine my credit worthiness? My credit line. How do they determine your credit line? Is determine your credit line based on your credit history and information you provide on your application. The minimum credit line is $300. How can I get a higher credit line? In order to receive a higher credit line, you must activate your card and use it at least once in the first 90 days. Don't go over your credit limit and make your first 3 minimum payments on time. Your credit line will be available on your account the following billing period after your third on-time payment is received and will be reflected by your fifth statement. And then you got the daily periodic rate, is 0% basically, to start out. After the introductory period, it's either 0.03559% or 0.05205% or 0.06299%. And then the transfer APR is the same figures that I just gave you. The cash advance is 0.06847%, and the penalty is 0.08055%. How do you calculate the minimum payment? Okay, if your balance is less than 15 bucks, your minimum payment will be equal to your entire balance, okay? Otherwise, your minimum payment will be the greater of 15 bucks or 1% of your balance plus interest, late payment fees, in an amount equal to a full year of membership fees divided by 12. If your account is 180 days past due, part of a bankruptcy proceeding, or otherwise charges off, the entire balance is due immediately. So that kind of goes over some of the terms here. I wanted to go over one little term that's not mentioned in some of these. Each state has its own laws, so there are going to be things that you can refer to. Now, the zero fraud liability claims are subject to verification and investigation. I wanted to do that. The grace period, so all of this is in here. The additional disclosures, we call this additional disclosures and terms, and you can find this on their website, if you want to go over it. So the good news is, and I always like to bring something positive to the table, is that even if you're going through some issues, there is hope. It's going to take time. It's not going to happen overnight for you, but there is hope. As long as you change your behavior and you start doing the right things, good things will happen. Like I said, it's not going to happen overnight. It took me, almost 9 years to get my act together, so it doesn't happen overnight. But there is hope, and I'm willing to go through that fire with you. I'm willing to help you. You can call me, you can write me, reach out to me, be a part of what I'm building, and we could do it together. Because a lot of times when you're down and out, nobody wants to be associated with you. When you're riding high, everybody want to be part of your posse. Everyone wants to be down with you. They're inviting you to all kinds of functions and things, and you're just busy. You don't have time to even sleep. People just calling you, they coming to get you, knocking on your door. They want to borrow your car, borrow money, have you do things for them. But as soon as the well is dry, you don't see none of those people. You're like, what happened to all those people? So I've been there, and that's why this is part of my legacy. I'm building this online legacy to teach people that there is hope, there is light at the end of the tunnel. And if you watch this series, share it with as many people as possible. We want this to go around and around. Let it go viral. Share it. I'm pretty much gonna sign out right now. And if you have any questions, just keep the questions coming. Later.